So I have Tariq Hussain here, the CEO of Bodio today, who will smarten us up a little bit in that area. And I'm pretty sure that we will figure out how we can actually empower the consumer.
Thank you very much. How are you all feeling today? Are we well? Oh, there's one. Fantastic. Great. So basically, we're going to talk about how technology and data can constantly empower communities for a healthy and happier tomorrow. And there's not one individual or one company that can do it on their own. It has to be a collaboration, you know? So basically, we have to look at what these different entities can get out of it in order for them to empower those communities. So when we're looking at the governments, they obviously want to reduce chronic heart diseases. They want to look at diabetes and how they can reduce diabetes. But also when you look at, for instance, Dubai government, they want data, population health data. You know, they have this happiness minister here in Dubai, which, you know, is a good thing because it's all about making sure that communities are happier. However, they also need the data to enable them to see whether or not they're making year-on-year incremental gain. And if they had the right data, they'd be able to do this much better. So then you have corporations. What do corporations want? So they want increased employee work productivity. They also want to reduce absenteeism. They don't want their employees off sick. They want to reduce presenteeism, which is basically employees at work not doing much work because they're not feeling too well. But also they can do other things with the data, such as, again, I'm using the region here as an example because we're here, but companies pay high premiums for insurance, super high premiums, and they have to give everybody insurance here. So it's not like in Europe where you don't have to give your employees health insurance. Here you do. However, if they had that data on how well their employee workforce were, then they could reduce their insurance costs anywhere between 30 and 60%. And that's massive, because that's just a cost reduction, plus increased productivity, plus you're making the community well. Then you have hospitals. So what do they need? They obviously want to their systems to work better, have better patient data. They want to have better patient monitoring. But also in real time, they want to be able to prevent serious illnesses. So they could really use this data to prevent serious illnesses like chronic heart disease and diabetes. And then let's look at other organizations like gyms. And for them, we're using this as an example because it's a good one because it's linked to health and fitness. But for them, it's about dropouts. I mean, I'm not sure what you guys did at the beginning of 2017, but we always normally make this New Year's resolution. You know, new year, healthier me, new me, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to get healthy. How many of you did that? Did you do it? Did you say you're going to get fit this year? He did it. There's one. So what we do is we sign up to gyms. And basically we go to these gyms, they weigh us at the beginning of the session, you know, in the beginning in January, and you're like 84 kilos. And then after March, you get down to March 3 months down the road, and then you're weighing 84.5 kilos. So you've actually gained 5 kilos in weight. And psychologically, all you look at is the scales, and it's demotivational. Because you look at it and go, oh my God, I've been working for the last 3 months, and all I've done is put half a kilo on, not off. And that's because maybe you've reduced your fat mass by 15%, and you've increased your muscle mass by 15%, which is fantastic. But it's not motivational until you know these figures, you know? So for them, it's really important to have this kind of information to stop dropouts from happening in gyms. And when you look at readiness, let's look at the global wellness economy, or the global wellness market. And every year it's increasing. So when I say new trends are healthy eating, I don't think you'd hear many people saying that 15 years ago. But new trends are healthy eating, CrossFit, yoga, Pilates. And then also, there's a lot of people that using motivational prompts on apps as well that keep them going. Obviously, the mobile device is an integral part of our lives. And just moving on to that, I mean, do we have the capability? And I think if I ask you guys, what's the first and last thing you did before you went to bed? or when you wake up, is probably look at your mobile phone, right? So you're looking at it for emails, or has somebody liked your post on social media? And when I wake up in the morning and walk into my mom's room, and she's 71, and she's using a mobile phone and an iPad in the morning, I know for sure that it's not just me, it's all ages. It's throughout. And they recently did a survey on 10,000 people about what would they prefer to leave at home, their credit card or their mobile phone. Over 80% said their mobile phone. So that's how powerful the tool in your hand is. So are we ready? Do we have the capability? We definitely do. And also, I think when you look at how many apps and wearables are on the market, I think every phone that you have comes with some kind of a health app built into it. We're all wearing wearables, and we're getting some fantastic bits of data. But the point is, what is that data and how does it help you? So you've done 10,000 steps, or you've ran around the marina for 8 kilometers and your heart rate is 142. Okay, or your speed was, for 1 kilometer, you did it in 5 minutes. What does that mean? How does that enable you to reach your health fitness goals? And what is 10,000 steps? What does it mean? Does it mean you can go and have a salad? Does it mean you should have a pizza? Does it mean you should stay at home? Or does it mean you can go out with your friends and have a good time? You don't know. Because you have that 10,000 steps. And the next day you need to do 10,200 steps. But how did it affect you reach your goals? And the problem with that data is there's not enough of it. Or there's not enough insights either. Because although you're getting this limited data and it's driving you to be more competitive, it's not giving you enough insights into what you need to do to change the life that you live today, to empower you to live a healthy and happier life. It's not doing that. All the apps and the wearables are fantastic when you plug them into something else that gives you more information, but on their own, they don't really do what they're meant to. So what's the solution? So if you look at all the stuff I've just talked about and try to understand what the solution is, I've got an example. And in the States, there's a company that they have 13,000 health stations that they've put across the whole of the USA. And what these health stations do, and they're free, by the way, they're free to use. What these health stations do is they take your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your height, your weight, your body composition, which is fat mass, muscle mass, bone density, hydration. And they give you all the basic data that you need to enable you to reach your goals and objectives. And what have they also done is, when I talked about the collaboration in the beginning, what's important is that what they've done is they've collaborated with people like Cleveland Clinic, people like Walmart, people like insurance companies, corporations. So if you're walking into Walmart, for instance, and they have one of these machines there, and you're doing your health assessment, and it shows that you've got, you have, your blood pressure might not be right, or it shows that you have early detection of a heart condition, it will make you choose, or give you options. Let's say it may ask you to have a healthy yogurt instead of something else. So you can make choices on the spot about your health and what you eat and about your diet. So these things are integrated into our everyday. So they're in malls, they're in pharmacies, they're in clinics, they're in hospitals. They also pair with insurance companies. And for insurance companies, it's pretty cool because let's say you've got an insurance policy and you're being charged a certain amount of money and you start working out or start being fitter, then shouldn't your insurance policy be cheaper? Because you're less of a health risk. So what they've done is they've paired with all of these different entities, and what it's done is it's given people more advantages to their lives. But the other thing that's important to note is that no matter how many of these machines you have around the world, or around the US or the UAE, what's the most important thing is the engagement. How do I get you guys to keep going there and using this and showing this a benefit from it to you? And I think you have to look at the tools that people are using today. It's social media, it's competitions, it's prizes, it's you being competitive with your neighbors, you being competitive against yourself. And unless the engagement's not there, if it's not there, then the whole thing kind of falls apart. But this company has had over 100,000 interactions with people every single day. So 100,000 people use these health stations every day. So that basically makes it the largest ever health survey in real time ever. So imagine what they can do with all this data. So they can check it, and what's cool about it is that you can also figure out which demographics, like for instance if you have it in Dubai, we can look at which demographics need more help, as in which nationalities. We can look at whether it's male or females, whether it's certain areas. And if you had this population health data, it would enable you to look at which areas are improving and which areas aren't doing so well, which demographics, which kind of nationalities are doing well and which aren't doing well. So overall, what we're looking at is a complete holistic approach. And that's what we've done with Bodio. That's the company I work for. So basically, we've taken all this and we've looked at what else can we add to it. So we love this basic model because it empowers the consumer to be more able to look after themselves. So you can take care of yourselves better. So what we've done is we've integrated AI, which is basically if you go and have a health assessment and you're doing your blood pressure and your blood sugar, it also asks you, how are you feeling today? And based on that, the AI within it will ask you, are you feeling any pain anywhere? So if you touch a certain area, it will record that area, and if you keep continuing to do it, then what will happen that, with your permission of course, if we have linked you with your hospital or your clinic, then they'll give you a call and say, hello sir, we've noticed that you've got a pain in the same area, we've noticed your blood pressure is a little bit low, nothing to worry yourself with, but why don't you pop into the clinic for a checkup? So it's early prevention. What we've also done is we have the nutritional bit to it, which basically we have 300,000 different recipes within the app. So if you choose a program, there's no need for you to think about what you're going to eat or what you need to eat. We do it for you. We know people are inherently lazy. You know, the more technology we have in our hands, the lazier we get because it starts doing it for us. So then we also have the fitness exercise as well. So we have over 6,000 videos that enable you to make those changes in your life. So of every day of the week, we'll put together what food you need to eat, what exercise you need to do, and what are your targets. We keep it clean, we keep it simple. Then we give you motivational prompts. So you know you get these push notifications. Imagine if you're walking into your company kitchen about to have a Snickers or a Mars bar, and as you walk through the door, we have a beacon there, and it will say, apple or banana. So it kind of psychologically plays on your, oh God, I was going to have a Mars bar, but what do I do? And then if you're a smoker, for instance, and in every company, there's the same smoking area everywhere. You probably notice it's behind some door somewhere in some corner. And we can have a beacon there. So when you walk out, it will say, another one. So it just reminds you that it's not meant to be Big Brother, but it reminds you that, okay, you're meant to be sticking to a strict goal and objective and hit your milestones to enable you to be a healthy and happier person. So on that note, I'd like to thank you all very much and open it up for any questions you might have. Thank you very much.
Any questions? I am sure there are some. Don't be afraid.
No, it just means I must have done a really thorough presentation. Because
you're just absolutely fantastic.
That's what that's what I think. But I mean, unless you want to, I don't know.
All right. So you mentioned that we will use technology more. Maybe because we are lazy. Are we really lazy, or don't we have time for anything else? Is that like the key factor to using and adopting technology? Or let's go a couple of years back. Apple pushed out the health kit, right? Was it successful? The answer is no. Why wasn't it successful? You had an additional burden, additional stuff you had to do as user. How is that different here?
Because, I mean, I think what we've realized, and that's a pretty good example of how, you know, a big company like Apple pushed something out in the market and it wasn't adopted that well because it involved too much from you. What we want to do and what we have done and with our algorithms and how we make things work is that we don't want so much from you. We want to prompt you to do things. And I do think that we have become lazier because of technology. And yes, it is partly to do with the fact that we lead busier lives, maybe. There's more things that we can do. But I think if we're able to look at how people use their devices and spend their days, and how we can empower you to do more without you actually having to yourself put too much effort into it. Because if I told you that, okay, if you stick by this diet and in 1 week's time you can lose 10 kilos, you'll be like, wow, how to do that? So it's about empowering you to do the things that will enable you to reach your goals.
So you can do that by donating all your organs, and then you will lose 10 kilograms.
Yeah, that's a possibility,
Good-
but
good
we don't
way
advise
forward.
that. We don't advise that. That's his words, not mine.
All right. So you are linking a lot of the things back to the devices that we use, the devices in our pocket. How do you see this changing in the next maybe 5, 10 years when these devices will vanish? How would the ideal state be with respect to guiding us?
Well, I think, there's been a lot of that stuff out there on the internet. I'm sure you've seen all the implants that have been put into people's bodies, and there was the first baby recently that was born with an implant in their body. So I'm not sure what the uptake will be today of people talking about putting implants in their bodies, but it's definitely there in the future. The idea is for you to not carry these radiating devices around with you. The idea is for it all to be personal. It's personalization is the key. Knowing what you want, what you need to make you healthier, what makes you tick. Because right now, if you look at the internet, you can find a million different programs on how to get fit, and there's half of the people saying it's great, the other half are saying it's not great. And that's because it might work for some people, but it's not tailored towards anybody. It's the average. But is your blood pressure and is your heart rate and is your, all these things the same? Are they all average? No, one of them might be, but nothing's tailored towards you. So I think technology in the future will be all about tailoring things to individual without actually having handheld devices. And I think the more you read about it, the more you see it's coming sooner and sooner, but it's a bit scary, I think. But I mean, as soon as people start adopting it and maybe it changes their lives, then other people might jump on that bandwagon as well.
It can definitely change our life. Do we have to know that our life was changed? Or can it change automatically? Can it just be our guardian angel that will be with us at all times? Wouldn't that be the ideal state? That we don't even have to know anymore that something positive happens about our health, our life, our well-being?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think when you look at some of these futuristic movies you see, okay, and there's people stuck in some pod somewhere and they're living their virtual reality. We don't want it quite to go in that direction because that's the wrong message altogether. But I think somewhere a balance between the two, where it actually enables us, it gives us the information we need, it educates us. The one thing the internet have done is over the last 20 years is educate us a lot. It's brought us close together. We have so much information at hand. The problem with the internet is that there's not enough filters in there to give us the right information. So if you knew all the information that concerns you and it enabled you, then that would be, for me, the ideal solution.
And I couldn't agree more. In the end, medical school syndrome, if I go on Google and type in my symptoms, I have all the diseases, including the menopause at this point in time. So it is very important to be guided. And I think what you shared is exactly that. Take data, create information, and then take the consumer on the hand to guide them through their health journey. So I'm very much looking forward to what Bodio will bring.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for sharing your insights,
Thank you. Thanks
Tariq.
very much.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
everybody.
Thanks.